Next, we welcome to the podium James Kubicki from the University of Texas at El Paso.
Hello, everyone. Today I want to talk to you about changes we're trying to make in what we're doing, but also I've been trying to talk to departments around the country to make them aware of the critical issues that we're facing and that we're running out of time with us. And I'm here to really try to recruit others to do the same, because I think there's not the imperative out there that we should have given the magnitude of the situation that we are dealing with. And today I'm here due to the largesse of the Mitchell Foundation. George Mitchell, if you don't know who he is, could be considered the father of fracking. He had a very large impact on our world and made a lot of money. But he's actually funding this project now where we are trying to help the Permian Basin region negotiate the energy transition, which is a sticky technical problem and even a stickier political and social problem. And it's interesting. I would say most everybody in this room recognizes the importance of mining for the energy transition and advanced energy. But you'd be surprised if you talk to a lot of energy people, they take it for granted that all those materials are going to be there magically. And so connecting those two worlds, I think, is important. So I think most people in this room here will recognize the problem. We're not producing enough students in this country. It's not surprising. I graduated college in 1983. I had planned to go to Penn State and go into ore geochemistry. I was told not to. It was a dead field in this country, and I think that was pretty accurate. There wasn't a lot of jobs in this country in mining until now. And so it's not surprising that we're so low. But in the meantime, our friends in China are graduating tons of people in this area, and that is a concern to some people for some reason. So mostly what I'm going to talk about is this report that just came out from the National Academies. They had a workshop back in January that was much like this meeting. It was kind of rare to me, what I think a meeting we need more of, that tried to bring together academics with industry and government people. And I think it was very productive, and I was surprised at the consensus among those groups, how much they agree on that what the problem is and what the solution should be. Even though those groups don't, I think, talk enough together as much as they really should. Okay, so the key concern is that, there's public perceptions of mining. Just in general, if the public doesn't even think of mining, they take it for granted. Everything that they use, they come from, they don't really think about it. For one thing, it's just not on their radar, much less having or they have a negative perception of the environmental impacts of it. And so if that's the perception of the general public, you're not going to get a large wave of students wanting to go into the field, okay? And I like what Misael Cabrera from Arizona said. We can't turn a blind eye to things that have happened in the past. I think that's got to be owned up to. But we can also make the case that things are changing, things are different. And yes, mining is going to have environmental impact, but we can do things in a much better way these days. And so we need to really get that message out there to the general public to recruit students into the workforce. So from this report, advancing this positive vision of the future of mining is something that everybody emphasized, right? And this is a great message to have, and it's the truth. So it should be easy to get out there. Unfortunately, I was in a session that discussed this at great depth. For about 3 hours we talked, and everybody said this is such a great idea, we need to do this. And then at the end of the day, the mining people said, well, the government should pay for this, and the government people said, oh, well, the mining people should pay for it. So I was kind of disappointed. I think that although everybody agreed this was what needed to be done, nobody wanted to take responsibility for doing it. And then, of course, we need support for research, training, and workforce programs that include a diverse range of students. I'm at University of Texas, El Paso, a very heavily Hispanic serving institution. About 85% of our students are Hispanic. Most of them come from the El Paso region, which is 85% Hispanic. But not only what we usually think of diversity, but also diversity of disciplines as well. Okay. Providing students with social skills. We've heard that in some of the earlier talks about what is important in actual careers. Universities do a horrible job of that. We emphasize all the technical skills that we're so enamored with, but we don't really teach students about what is really going to be important to get ahead. Facilitating early hands-on research and applied learning experiences. This is something that I think that'll be valuable career preparation, but also helps recruit students. So a lot of students will actually, see this as a positive and engage them and get them into the program and get them through to the end if they see that what they're doing is going to have a real world impact. Again, we do a horrible job of that. Most everything we do is sort of academically related, okay? And this is a big thing. I think, when I look over my career, I think, say the past 40, 50 years, or maybe even longer, academia and industry have sort of been diverging, not like completely divorced from one another, but not as strongly tied as they used to be. And I think both groups have some responsibility for this. I do a lot of my work through the American Chemical Society, and about half of the membership and half of the attendees at the meetings a few decades ago used to be from industry. But industry is not paying for those technicians to go to meetings anymore. And so there's no opportunity for industry people to meet academics at those meetings. And again, a lot of academics won't go to industry meetings either. And so there's not as much crosstalk and collaboration as there should be. We need to find ways to bring people on from all sorts of different backgrounds and life stages. And especially one concern about the political part of going through the energy transition, who's going to lose their jobs? Permian, this is a big issue. Oh, am I going to lose my job? But if we can convince people that there's going to be new jobs, that they can be trained for those jobs, even if they are mid-career or so, the political barriers will be lessened, okay? This is something that I've been concerned about since I read the executive order in 2017 saying we were going to have coordination across agencies and also between industry, academia, and government. I read that and I said, that's a fantastic idea. How is that going to happen? I've been looking to see how that's going to happen. I've been looking to see where the funding is. Maybe some people here in this room know better what's going on, but I've been looking for it and I haven't seen it. So I think the extent of it is not as great as it should be. Okay, and here the main question is, how do we reverse this trend? Right, we want to rejuvenate mining in this country and processing and everything that goes with it, and yet we have this huge trend, and it's imperative that we do this very quickly, not in the next 10, 20 years or so. And so what students are looking for today is good careers where they can make a real world impact, and so we have a dual job. One, to connect these majors that are related to mining with jobs. At UTEP, most students interested in STEM go into biology because they want to be doctors or something related to medical because they can relate to that as a job, or engineering, they can relate that to as a job. And so we need to reach out and really show where the career opportunities are and show the positive aspects of those career opportunities on society. And then we really need to do this in an interdisciplinary way. More and more people are working in an environment that is interdisciplinary, but the range of careers that go into the industry are huge. And so we need to make sure that this idea disseminates across, not just geology and mining, engineering and metallurgy, but electrical engineering, data and computer science, and especially environmental science. I'm from a Earth and Environmental Science department, and I think that a lot of people going into environmental science don't realize that they can get jobs in industry. Okay. And here, to me, this is what I consider heaven or nirvana. This is a diagram from that National Academy report. And here, this is where government, university, and industry are all working in harmony together, and everybody's talking together. We have a common goal, and we achieve, the perfect society, right? So this is an ideal, and I think some of this is happening to some extent, but I think it really needs to be juiced up dramatically. And I think we need, grassroots efforts from people from all of these groups to reach out across wherever they can, find people, work with people from other groups to make sure that we're all working in unison to achieve this goal where we have the workforce and we can produce a resilient supply chain and minimize environmental impacts and increase, social and economic welfare across the spectrum. Okay. One way we thought about doing this is, traditionally in geology, it's like you go out and find the rocks, you find the minerals, right? But as I started to learn about this, all of that we're going to do in geology is then all connected to the supply chain, which really impacts the value of whatever body you found. But we don't train students across this. And so we brought up a concept where we could bring together people from a wide variety of disciplines, teach students, yes, to be experts in whatever area, such as, exploration that we would do in our department, but at least so that they're cognizant of what's going on in all these other sectors of the supply chain as well, so that when they get into the business, they can work with people and they understand not only the scientific or engineering technical aspects of the problem, but the economic and social aspects as well. Okay. And so we're trying to rejuvenate the Bachelor of Science Mining Engineering program at UTEP. It was killed back around 1965, 66 or so due to budget constraints. But we're trying to rejuvenate this, and it will have a positive impact on all these other disciplines that we are teaching right now, but it's a missing gap right there. Okay. And so we need to fundamentally change the culture in academia. The reward system is not based on the students you produce and the positive real-world impact you have. It's simply based on the grant money you bring in and the papers you write, and it's kind of a circular process. All your friends, people who are interested in that work, review it and say it's great, pat you on the back. Nothing about the real-world impact, okay? So the selection of these topics are not really based on industry or really any real societal needs, and so we need to change that. And also for workforce development, we really need to create, research where they're doing real-world problems, so they'll be better prepared when they get into industry. And bringing more industrial scientists into the review process for grants and papers and things like that can help with that. And also cross-training of students in whatever discipline so that when they get into the real world, they are better able to work in that diverse environment. And so from this a workshop, we came up with this great slogan: a mine is a terrible thing to waste, but waste is a wonderful thing to mine. But if you combine this message, which is a great message, with image of mining, people might not be so attractive to that. And so if you change the image, though, if we want to get to this future, right, all that mining is a necessary thing to get to this state. And it reminds me of a quip that I think an old congressman said. There was a story he had, a guy was telling it, had been working for this congressman, and they were building this big public pool in the town. And everybody was all mad about it, complaining about it, right? Because all the construction was going on and the dirt and stuff and everything. And the guy says to the congressman, he says, how come everybody's complaining? They all wanted this public pool. And he says, son, don't you know, everybody wants to get to heaven, but nobody wants to die. So thank you.